departure from my normal videos. Today I'm going to do one of my vlog style videos. My name's Will. I'm the company director for the BPL Bible. Call me the editor, call me whatever you want. I am a local freelance journalist for another news agency, and I also own my own news outlet. For the past 5 years I've been reporting on incidents in Blackpool, on goings-on positive news stories, and I've done this for free. I've done it for the people to read for free, and I've done it because I didn't like the way that the media in our local area was doing what they're doing. So the point I'm trying to make today is it's basically beef with the council. So if the council allow, like, them two stood next to each other at the basically it's food, right? It's the control of the food supply, and that's the issue. So if you've got money, if you have money in your pocket, you are allowed to go to a business and collect food. You can go into a shop to collect food. You can go to a takeaway and order hot food, and you can get it in the shop. You can pay them with money, and then you can leave that shop. You can go into a corner shop. You can go into a hardware store. You can go into Chick-fil-A that's right there in Leighton. I could go in there with a quid and ask them, can I buy something for a quid? Not a problem. Can go into the premises, can get it, and then move off. All they've got to do is put a sign up that says, stay more than 2 metres away from everybody. And then they're covered, yeah? If the police spot anybody in there that's not that's closer than 2 metres, the police can issue the person with a fine and potentially the shop with a fine. I don't think that there have been any fines dished out for this yet. Although Lancashire Constabulary has handed out the most amount of fines, and I think the majority of them were given in the first weekend, 2 weekends. The thing about the force in Lancashire is it covers a vast area. I think comparatively with other forces, Lancashire Constabulary has the biggest area in the country. I genuinely think it does. So we're talking about a large demographic, a large geographic area. And there are lots of motorways that run through Lancashire. And we have a motorway police hub, I'm sure we have one near Preston. So if anyone gets stopped by Lancashire Constabulary travelling through Lancashire for a non-essential purpose, they've been issued with a fine. So it's not necessarily the people of Lancashire that are being fined. It could well be people travelling from out of Lancashire to go through Lancashire to the Lake District, or to go through Lancashire to get to Blackpool. What I want to point out today is, and I just want you to observe the queue as we drive past. Now, you can queue to get into a supermarket, and they limit how many people can go in. And the queue is the important thing, that people are maintaining a distance of 2 metres away. Now, once we've been to this supermarket, we're going to go to another one, and then another one, and then we're going to turn up at Amazing Graze, and we're going to see how they're doing things. Now, they do know that I'm coming, but they don't know what time I'm coming. They don't know to expect me at a specific time. I'm not auditing them. I'm not trying to catch them out. I'm observing. That's what I'm doing. So the queue today, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 households. That looked to me like 23 households queuing up outside waiting to get into that supermarket. Two security guards there. And when you go inside into the car park, it's the same. You get the same queuing system. So the person on the ground floor is speaking with the person on the car park level. One of the main issues around this that has been quoted by the council in the correspondence that I've seen has been to stop people from congregating right? I'm not kidding you. If you want to stop people congregating, look at Home Bargains. There's people outside there. They're not 2 metres away. Nobody's 2 fucking metres away. This is ridiculous. So Home Bargains, there you go. There's a bit of precedent for you. It's impossible for people to pass on this footpath because there's less than 2 metres. So there's people walking across and past each other within 2 metres of one another. Far fewer people on the promenade today than there were yesterday. Far fewer. I don't know why I feel like this is a personal attack by the local authority on a group of volunteers who just feed hungry, vulnerable people. That's all they do. So outside the pharmacy, they can stand 2 metres apart. That's fine. You know, got to get your pharmaceuticals. That's an essential. Food's essential. See, it was released today. I read it in I think it was on Sky News, that police chiefs have been issued and have issued new guidance to their officers relating to permissions for going out, like permissible reasons that people could go out for a walk. One of them is if you have an argument with your partner, you can go and stay at a friend's house. Isn't that just giving everyone a flipping licence to go and have a up at the mates for one night and say they've had an argument or a barney with the missus? So there's one. I understand for people fleeing domestic violence, definitely, yeah, but that's not the way it's been dressed up to me. Things that was mentioned is that you can go to a friend's house to pick up some food. If you need food and you don't have any, you can go to a friend's house to collect some. It's a reasonable excuse. So what's the difference between a friend, somebody who you trust, and a food bank that you've been using for 6 months that you trust? Because one of the main issues here is that some of the service users, through whatever reason they have, don't trust the council or the government. They just don't trust them. There's no obligation to trust your local council. There's no obligation to trust the government. People can choose to be independent if they want to. If they choose to not follow government advice, then that's fair enough. The police can intervene and do something. And in most cases here, they'll be issuing a fine, which is a fixed penalty. So that's confusing. And there is a lot of confusion about the way things are being reported, why people have got these restrictions imposed upon them, why certain people are allowed out. There's a lot of... I can't remember the right word to use to describe this, but it's almost like jealousy. Well, I'm not allowed to go out, or I don't think I'm allowed to go out, so I don't think anyone else should be allowed to go out. That seems to be the way I'm looking at most people's grievances on Facebook. I can understand the reason for somebody who's got mental health issues and has been trapped in their house for 3, 4, 5, I don't even know how long has it been 6 weeks? Have we done 3 weeks and we're doing another 3? I'm lost. So there's people who've got, you know, depression, anxiety, other mental health issues, and I couldn't think of anything worse. To be suffering with depression like I do, and to be trapped with the same thing to look at all the time. Drive past, then park up, take a photo. Oh right, there we go, we can't even get down that one to turn. So you can see there that they've got something in place. Park up. So they've got a snaky queue system. I'll turn it round here, reverse into this space. They are 2 metres apart, just. But still, they're allowed to come in, spend the money, get close to one another. do the shopping. Yeah, we are recording still. But honestly, it's being marshalled, it's being wardened, but people are still coming, and they're still close to one another, and they're still, you know, the wind's blowing in one direction, so if there's one person that's non-symptomatic but is shedding, then everyone that's upwind of him, downwind of him, is going to get it. Again, there's a trolley park here, there's a trolley bay, and there's no cleaning stuff, there's nothing to wipe it down when you've left it or when you pick it up. They only give you one when you're in there. So, like, to me, there's the potential when you just touch your trolley to cross-contaminate yourself unless you can wash your hands for more than 20 seconds, because you can't just squirt on antibac, can you? That's not how it works. You can't just squirt your hands with antibac and it's dead, because it's not a bacteria, it's a virus. And they're saying that in order to kill the protein that surrounds the virus, you have to wash your hands for more than 20 seconds to ensure that the soap dissolves the fats that are in the coating, the protein coating. So that in itself is confusing. Do a quick run down to the Asda now. Now, I'm pretty sure that the 3 o'clock run is just for food deliveries. What they do is they ask for as many drivers as possible to turn up, donate their time, fuel, energy, basically just to help people. And if I can describe the types of people that are receiving help from Amazing Graze, we're talking about elderly, vulnerable people that are living not only in Blackpool, some of them are living as far away as Bispham. They've had requests from people in Fleetwood, and I know that they've fulfilled them, but it's not something that they regularly do. It's difficult. It really is difficult to travel the Fylde coast with food to deliver to somebody, expecting people to do it for free. I mean, in an ideal world, the council or the Public Health England or somebody would send an envoy to Amazing Graze and say, hello, here is a guide, this is our best practice, I've come to help you implement it. That'd be polite, that'd be friendly, that'd be a way to get around the issues. What's the point in inventing the wheel from scratch when there's one there? There's already a food bank in Blackpool that's independent, that's self-funded, that doesn't rely on the council for anything. It does look remarkably quieter in here than it did at the other one, but I can still see a queue. I just want to make sure that I get all of the queue, if you know what I mean. Oh wow, we're going to get all of the queue. In fact, here's my spot for a photo. Right, mobile now. The GoPro comes on me with the camera. I don't like bringing the Osmo out. I didn't get you on that one. Oh, that's right. Here we are, back to the car. This is simply not a very good workable solution. Look at it. It's every man for himself. There's no guidance. There's nobody instructing people what to do around this. Right, so it's Asda, not the Asda, Lidl. And I just thought I'd pop on now because there is a queue. It's just gone 20 to 3. I'm not doing this to grass anyone up, I'm doing it as a comparative, basically. That if a food bank who looks after vulnerable people is expected to close because people are congregating, then the same should be said for supermarkets. You can't just go around issuing instructions willy-nilly. If it applies to one, it's got to apply fairly to all. That's my thinking on this, completely. Otherwise, it's discrimination, and we don't like that word. Well, we're flying in blind. Just pitch you up a little bit. How do? Yep. So there's police already around the corner attending to something. Wow. Right. That is absolutely awesome. Brilliant. I love it. There's always a little buzz when you turn up at a new news job. Whether it's for people that you know or whether it's an incident that you've got no idea what you're walking into, you always get that little tingle, that, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen here. And to a certain degree, that was correct to this situation, because the previous service on the Tuesday, people could turn up and collect their food at 6:30, and many of them have walked past and been informed that that service will be cancelled, and they know that this service runs, so it was anticipated that some people might turn up looking for guidance and advice. The volunteers did the best they could, explained as quickly as possible, and ushered on anybody who was confused, who hadn't seen the updates on the internet or didn't quite understand because for one reason or another maybe they can't read, that they didn't see what the sign was all about. Some people are lost in addiction and they need help, and the community rallies together and supports those that are vulnerable, those that need help, that live in our local community. Every section of society turned up, including die-hard Blackpool supporters.
Come on the muckers!
Come on the muckers. Have you anything to say to Blackpool Bible, sir?
Get yourselves down here and help pal for a great cause. Get the army. The army.
It is the Tangerine Army.
Are we done? See you later.
And I suppose you could call these volunteers an army of angels. None of these people are receiving any sort of payment for this. They've just come, many of them giving up their own time, some of whom will be furloughed or out of work at the moment, just like the majority of people. But it's just another example of the Blackpool community coming together. No bias or prejudice. There's people from all walks of life who have just turned up to serve and help people from different walks of life, people from disadvantaged backgrounds, the kind of people that Amazing Graze was set up to service. There's local business owners who support Amazing Graze. The two that spring to mind is Mediconf and Hamisec. there's many others that have contributed and helped Amazing Graze over the years, but these are people that I've got to know through my involvement with the charities. Other notable people that were there that are also known to myself because of the work is the Assistant Police and Crime Commissioner, Chris Webb, who was a Labour Party candidate in the last election, and then also Councillor Gerard Walsh, who's a friend of mine now, and I know both of them through the work at Amazing Graze, regardless of the different political views.
How
you doing, Jad? Very nice to see you, sir.
I'm alright.
So,
You're
taking a little bit of time out of your spare time to come and help with us in your local community.
Always. Blackpool people gotta look after Blackpool people, that's all.
The thing that was annoying me last week was people bringing different political colours into it.
There's no need.
There's no need. You're absolutely right.
This isn't the time for that nonsense.
No.
This isn't the time for that. It's about unity.
That's right. That's why you see people from all sorts of different businesses from all around the town helping out.
Am I right now?
Yeah, I'm not meaning to grass you up or anything, but you're doing a good thing, mate.
Right. Enjoy, folks. Have a good rest of your day.
Love you. Take care, Jack.
Buddy.
Speak to you later.
Bye.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
How you doing? Good.
Oh, we can. We're going to deliver it out. We're going to do that.
That's how it's going to be, basically. The people that turn up here that don't want to give their address, they don't want people to know who they are, they don't necessarily have an address. How do they get it?